Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. So we've had quite a few fun conversations already, and I've been excited for this conversation with Alix Greenberg, the fine artist and female founder and CEO of Art Sugar. So Alix, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about your background, because your background very much led to what you are doing right now, which is just so impressive, so philanthropic, and I can't wait to share it with all of our listeners. So Alix, tell our listeners a little bit about your background and education.
Sure. Well, born and raised in New York City, I was, infiltrated by the art world and culture. I went to college for fine art. I went to Cornell and I was a painting major. And then I got my art history master's from Christie's, which is an auction house. And then I worked in the art world for 8 years in New York before starting Art Sugar in 2017. Almost 4 years since, the official start date. I did, do some side hustling while I was working at a museum, but I didn't, fully go all in until October 2017.
Okay, absolutely. And I know that you did have that, call it traditional art career. You've worked at galleries and all sorts of, always involved in some important stuff. But it was a family story that resulted in you scaling up your business, Art Sugar. So let's talk about that family side of things. Alix, tell us a little bit about your family, and in particular your grandmother.
Yes. So just to backtrack a little, my specialty was portraiture when I was in college. And for several years, I took a really long break from drawing or painting anything. And then I was at this museum. I started getting commissions for portraits because one person saw me doing it. So I had this little side hustle, and I had that for 2 years. And donating part of the proceeds was always part of, taking money from anyone, because when someone offered it to me, I was like, this feels weird. I've never taken money from my artwork before. And I need to give back. But my grandma got very sick with pancreatic cancer, which is, obviously a horrible, horrible disease, terrible way to go. And she passed away in 9 months after she got the diagnosis. And I saw my grandma 4 days a week. I grew up around the corner from her in New York. My mom grew up in New York. So my grandma and grandpa lived right next door. And it was just a major wake-up call for me. Wow, life is short. And what am I doing? And it sort of impelled me to be why am I at this 9 to 5 I don't fully love? And let's really try to scale this project I've been working as a side hustle for so many years. So that's really what pushed me, over the edge, or what inspired me to go all in. And one of the first charities I worked with was an organization called Code Purple Now. It's reinventing the way, or it's trying to reinvent the way that pancreatic cancer is approached by going to government and trying to advocate for more funding because of the way certain cancers are funded and how money is allocated. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's
It does. No, it's so impressive and so important what you're doing. And again, we're going to talk more about the sort of what Art Sugar does, but perhaps more importantly, I do want to stay on that theme of talking about your partners, because I know that Art Sugar donates proceeds from every purchase to many notable charities, and there's a lot up on your website, which certainly we're going to send folks to in just a few minutes. But let's talk about some of those partners: the Trevor Project, Moms for Moms, Girl Wonder. I mean, you're involved in some great causes, so artists and art lovers can give back with every purchase. So tell us about your relationship with those organizations.
So my relationship with organizations is very different for each one. The smaller organizations, such as Girl Wonder, I met the founder of that organization on Instagram, actually, and we really hit it off. She's a female founder too, and we partnered with a few artists to give back to that organization, which provides career counseling for young women of color. And it's a great organization. And I love working with smaller organizations that really need funding rather than the major corporate organizations, which also need funding, but we're not going to make so much of a dent with them. So I just really like the kind of more personalized, relationships with the smaller organizations, though we give back to larger ones as well, of course, as, Trevor Project being one of them. And I like that we work with a lot of different kind of causes because certain causes matter to certain people more than others. And my goal with this entire company was to democratize the way that art is purchased, but it's also democratizing the way, your charitable gifting as well, right? So everyone has different ways of giving back and different causes they believe in or that are important to them.
Absolutely, and it's awesome because listeners can, of course, get on your website, purchase some incredible pieces of art while supporting some great projects and great initiatives. And Andrea, it's awesome what you're doing, and I'm on your website right now, looking at the art, the decor, and folks can subscribe on the website, which again is artsugar.co. But we are not done because we have barely scratched the surface over here in talking about the details of your organization of Art Sugar. So we've got to squeeze in a very quick break. Alix will join us in just a moment when we return on Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Get Down to Business. I am continuing my conversation with Alix Greenberg, the fine artist and female founder and CEO of Art Sugar. Again, Art Sugar is the philanthropy and Instagram-driven retailer offering an exclusive curated assortment of art, home goods from the most coveted contemporary artists on Instagram, uniquely making elevated art accessible to millennials. And we've been talking about the philanthropy and how every proceeds from every purchase goes to notable charities. But Alix, we have not yet really scratched the surface on the specifics of what our listeners can find on your website, artsugar.co. You've got some great art. Let's talk a little bit about the inspirations over here.
Sure. I work with artists around the world, and I source mainly through Instagram, and they're all creating really, really cool things, but they don't necessarily want to manage the business behind selling the art. So we work with them with exclusive designs to the Art Sugar platform, sell their art, and try to keep things at a relatively accessible price point. Because again, my goal is to democratize, art. Art should be for everyone, and it doesn't only have to be to the 1% or the tippity top of the 1% of the world. So, really informed by my background in the really traditional fine art world, I wanted to do something different with accessible art that you don't necessarily get from a big box chain where you may get something really affordable, but it's not, trendy or on the pulse of anything necessarily.
And unlike Instagram, what I love about your gallery, your online gallery, is that you are able to search very, very easily by category, by theme. So let's say you love rainbows, you love smileys, you have the ability to sort of search the wall art by that theme. And there are some really, really beautiful pieces of art. And again, you're supporting artists from around the world. So Alix, it's got to be fun sourcing art through Instagram. Have you met some interesting people?
Everyone's interesting for sure. The world has just completely opened up with the use of these technologies and made it so much easier to interact and have a relationship with people around the world. So definitely met interesting people. Some I've met in person, some I have not, but I've spent a ton of time on the phone, on text, on email with them. And it's really cool. It's exciting.
It is really cool. It is really cool. So, Alix, we are almost out of time, but I want to make sure our listeners know where they can find you online on Instagram and what's coming up and exciting. I know you've got some changes on your website, and I know that everybody can subscribe. So, tell us a little bit about how people can get in touch.
Sure. Well, you can visit us on the website, artsugar.co. There's a chat bubble at the bottom right if you want to chat. You can also DM us, artsugar.co on Instagram and follow us there. And we have Facebook as well. Facebook is artsugarco. And come say hi. It's usually me answering, or it's my first employee ever just started a month ago. Her name is Rowie. It's one of us. We have some cool collaborations coming up. A lot of great things for holiday, including Friday. We're launching our first ever fashion accessory collaboration with another female founder, and very excited about that as well.
A lot to be excited about. Again, I've been chatting with Alix Greenberg, the founder, CEO of Art Sugar. Check out the website, artsugar.co. And we've had a great conversation today with some fantastic entrepreneurs, leaders, and people involved in giving back. And with that, that's a wrap for us here on Get Down to Business. We'll be back next Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on AM 560 The Answer. But until then, make sure you get on my website, shalomklein.com, and find us on your favorite podcast app, Apple, Spotify, Google, really anywhere where podcasts can be found. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review, and share. It makes it easier for people to find the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. So to success, let's get down to business. We'll talk to you next week.